righty, beautiful people. We are here for another heart to heart interview. It's a fabulous Monday. I actually got up today and it was storming here in Atlanta. But you know what I find so amazing and wonderful about storms is they bring me clarity. They also make me think about life. I actually sat outside on the balcony during the storm, and it really wasn't that bad. We just had some lightning and stuff like that. We have another fabulous guest today. Her name is Robin F. David. We're going to be talking about handling transitions like a boss. Let me see if I can invite her in. RF join the broadcast. Let me just talk about this rain. Rain is so cleansing. I remember growing up just being fascinated by the rain, and now I actually run out in the rain. Like I dance in the rain. I know I've actually danced nude in the rain. Hey Mike, what's up? Been a while. I do all kinds of stuff in the rain, y'all. Like it's just fascinating, and we should not be afraid of the rain because it brings new life to you. It's a chance to, hey Stephanie, what's up? It's a chance to be yourself. It's a chance to really cleanse. Like that's really what I want to talk about with the rain, because you can be inside. Since Stephanie is on here too, rain is good weather for writing too. It's good creation weather. It like for real. Let me see if I might have to message Robin on my other let me see if I can message her on my other device to see where she is. Let me see. Cause I want to get this thing started, y'all. I don't want to just be sitting here. Cause y'all know I can talk, but I don't want y'all just sitting here listening to me, because we can for sure do that. So she's there. Hey Olivia, what's up? You in the house too? Uh, Let me send her another request. Sometimes you gotta, and shoot, if she don't come through, I might have another guest because I see some other people lined up who would be interested in chatting with me today. So either way, I'm going to listen with, oh yeah, I can't stand the rain. It's my window. I can't stand the rain. Y'all don't get me singing, but for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I'm doing another Tuesday midnight music. It ain't actually at music. It's gonna be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. I did one last week. Um, I'm just asking her. Uh, Sent you a request. Oh yeah, like I was saying, I'm doing another live performance on Facebook tomorrow night. So for those of you, oh, thanks, Stephanie. For those of you who want to join me, last week I did love songs. This week I'm doing hope songs. So these are going to be songs all about hope, healing the world. What? Because we need, what will the world needs now is love, sweet love. Okay, there she go. Okay, so Robin, you are here. Did you see my request, Robin? Or you can actually send me a request to join the broadcast. You should be able to answer that request and we'll get you in. And I see you're doing great, Olivia, as well over there in the you're in the Netherlands, right? Yeah. So I got people all over chiming in, y'all. So, ooh, I should add that song to my list, what I was just singing. That was not on my list. I had Michael Jackson for tomorrow. Um, hmm, what else? Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. This is actually a dress from, you know where I got this dress? Okay, there's a story behind this dress. 3 years ago, I was, yes, you're in the nether, but you ain't too far. We're all connected heart to heart. Um, 3 years ago, I was back home because y'all know that was like the height of the pandemic, and I wanted to. It says you are unable to join. I'm going to resend the request. And then, Robin, you should also be able to. Okay, I think you're in here, baby. We got you. Okay, I get so excited. Hey, it's RFD Talk, y'all. Woo! What's up?
Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you,
Yes,
gorgeous?
doing well. I love that you always start your thing. You like, hello, 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 beautiful people. Yes, gotta get the people. Gotta get
Thank
the people
you.
hype.
Thank
How are
you.
you today?
I am grateful, appreciative to have the opportunity to be here with you. I feel honored and just delightful. Thank you. I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about, because I know we're going to talk about a myriad of things, but this conversation is going to be focused around how to handle transitions, because I know you've had to manage some transitions in your life. And first of all, I want to ask you, how do you define transitions? When people come to you and they're like, I got to transition and I got to go through this. How do you define that?
Mm. How do I define transition? That's a great question. Thinking over my own experience in transition, I believe it's the just how we are as beings. We're going to always be evolving and becoming. I feel like for my own experience, and when other people come to me and clients come to me and say, and customers may say, or clients or someone that I'm working with might say, well, I'm going through this transition. I feel like it's a part of our natural being of who we are. We are always are going to be transforming and changing and evolving, becoming into our whole self, and life experiences will happen in order for us to become that person, right? So it's something that is a natural process in life that you're going to be experiencing. Between every 5 to 3 months, you might find that you're changing something, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like getting used to being uncomfortable with transition, right? So I think transition for me is learning that the only thing that is consistent is change, right?
Wow. What would you say, particularly like over the past 5 years for you? Because I know you host your own radio show, you're an author, you're a coach, you're a speaker, you're all a nonprofit, you manage a nonprofit, you do all of these great and wonderful things. What was the biggest transition that impacted your life over the past 5 years?
In the last 5 years, the biggest transition, well, that's a great question because in the last 5 years, we all went through 2020 together, right? So prior to 2020, I was really like, how do I serve in the capacity that that people should be prepared that life is going to be things are going to be coming up, that you need to be really prepared for the worst and hoping for the best, right? So for me, in the last 5 years, it's really been listening to that inner voice that you must stay prepared in life for the worst, but always hoping for the best. And that's through being consciously aware that life is always happening. And so in the last 5 years, I really had to embrace the uncomfortable changes and just know that it's all working out for us, right? Even though it's uncomfortable and we don't always know the answer right away. So for me, I mean, to really think about that question in the last 5 years, I would say being on my own as a woman, I had to realize that it's important to to be okay with being
Mm.
alone, right? You know, being alone and being happy about it, right? In every aspect, right? So learning how to appreciate yourself. Really, in these last 5 years, I really learned that it's important to trust your instincts, really learning to hear what your direction is in life, and how to line that up is basically accepting that it's you and something greater that is calling you to your assignment in life, right? So in the last 5 years, I realized it's important to surrender to that inner voice and to embrace that.
Okay, you just mentioned a key word because that has come up for me this past month and a half or so, surrender. Okay, what is all of that about? Like, how does the process of surrendering to these changes work?
Mm, let's say it's not an overnight thing, right? Surrendering, because we have our own way of the society tells us to do things, right? And so we want to, like, do I do it that way the society's saying, or should I just literally learn how to sit still with myself, right? And really get quiet. For me, meditation is is essential to surrendering. It's just kind of like sitting and feeling all the emotions that we experience, but then letting them kind of flow out, like the negative, and just kind of letting it go, like, oh, that happened. And if it is a feeling that may be negative or not rewarding at the time, but surrendering is saying something greater is within me, is allowing this to happen with me so I can be aware that it's okay to surrender to this feeling, right? But then that feeling is being acknowledging it, that is there, right? So
Mhm.
acknowledging that I need to surrender to this negativity that has arrived in my life, right? Or is I'm experiencing for a temporary time. So how to just say, I'm gonna trust the process, even though I don't understand exactly how it's gonna unfold. So surrendering is letting go, releasing, releasing the outcome of what you may be experiencing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense because what I heard you say is surrendering is knowing that there's an outside source, God,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
letting us know, okay, it's out of your
mm-hmm,
control. And you have to say, okay, and going back to what you mentioned at the first part of our conversation, you talked about change being the only constant as well.
mm-hmm.
This brings up something else for me. Why do you think most of us struggle with change, especially when it comes to death or losing a job, or even like we talked about the pandemic, even what we dealt with the pandemic. Why do we struggle?
I think it's easier for most people to just get in the autopilot life, right? It's just easy, just to get up and not be consciously aware of your next move. It's like just we get in this comfort zone, like, oh, longest I have my 9 to 5 and it's taking care of me. We rely on those things that are not really our source, right? Because we, like you said, you mentioned you have to have a spiritual grounding, which is God, Most High, whatever name a person uses for that. So you have to remember that and stay connected, right? And the way not to get disconnected is when something is taken away, or you feel like it's taken away. You might have lost a job because it's time for you to promote, to move into another position, or to expand your capacity to others. There's ways that I feel that the spiritual you have to grow. But when we hold on, we say, oh, it's easier. I don't have to be conscious of this. I don't have to face the fear of what someone else will say about me thinking I can move into a new life without my my son or without my ex-husband. You know, it's like letting go of what people would think about you moving on, and then also embracing the new you, and accepting that, yes, I am blossoming and becoming something new, right? Something more refreshing for self and others, right? But I think it's just scared. We allow fear and the naysayers of the other outside conversation, and what we need to work on is saying it's okay to change. You know, it's uncomfortable, but I'm willing to take that uh, step out into the uncomfortableness, right? And it's not easy for the majority of people, because the majority of people are just like, well, why can't it just stay that way, right? Why can't it just
Exactly.
stay? You know, I'm a mother, birthed 5 children, but my son is my angel guide, right? And he has always been that angel guide, but sometimes we have to know that the person, we don't see them guiding you, is right there physically. I can't touch my father, I can't touch the people I love, but I know that they are with me, right? I know that they have came across. A part of my assignment was to learn from them, right? They were teachers in my life. And so that job was a teacher in your life. That person was a teacher in your life, to teach you to be who you are becoming today. And they always will be there. Like, I have always, you know, felt like their value to my life puts me where I am today. Or that job that I lost or got fired from, or the business that closed down on me, you know, it still made me who I am today. So I feel like it's all value, and we really don't really lose anything. But
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah.
people feel like they like to hold on to those things that they feel like, well, I don't understand why that happened to me, instead of just saying it's okay, you know. And it's not easy. I don't think it's an easy way of surrendering, or easier way of moving into that transition. I know it's very uncomfortable sitting with your feelings, and you have to go through the process, right, of the weeping. It's okay to weep, right, for a moment. You know, we can cry about it for a moment. Every blue moon, you might feel like, oh wow, I did put my heart into that, but I lost it. But
Mhm.
then you'll find that it's so many other great things that came from those experiences, and those is where you want to keep your eyes and focus on, right? That's what I do, is I think of those things that it brought the best out of me. And so that's what I would recommend. It's just hard. It's just hard because we just feel like things should never change. But that's just not how life is. We have our birthing date and we have our expiration. And in between them, I'm always reminded, what do you want people to know? What is your narrative in between that, right? That dash, right? And so I think we are all eternal beings, and we just don't really understand that in our natural experiences.
Yeah, it is hard to understand that in the natural experience, especially if we have a tough time missing what physically is
Mm-hmm.
gone, like you said, losing your son, even your divorce from your ex-husband, those type. And that's what I help my clients with. And it's all, I mean, and I've been there personally too with breaking up with my ex.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely tough. Tell us what you do specifically, because I know on RFD Talk, you specifically address some of these things, or you've had some guests on where they addressed all kinds of transitions. How did you get into the radio show, and how does all that flow with the guests? Tell us more.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to share. So, this journey of self care, self love, and wholeness, I actually started before the radio show. I started Toastmasters in probably like the early 2000s, right? So, someone would call me like a trailblazer of the self care, self love journey, which is amazing that I'm so excited that when I was introduced to it 2 decades ago, when I got into speaking as a public speaker and as a inspirational speaker, I started at Toastmasters, and all of my Toastmasters friends and everyone then led me to television. So when you're in Toastmasters, if anyone joined Toastmasters, you're going to do a 10 speeches, right? And those are your initial, you finish that, you become a certified Toastmaster. And your group, so you have storytellers, right? You have people who tell stories very well, right? Those are the speaker. You have a motivational speaker. You have informative speakers. So there's variety of speakers is what I'm sharing with your guests. And for me, I fell in media. I fell in television and radio. And that's after I did the 10 speech, I knew then. When my group, they say, well, what's your next? Because you go into a next book in Toastmasters. You can choose another 10 speeches, right? And you prepare for the 10 speeches. You get before your peers, and they critique you. And so for me, Toastmaster, one of my very first speeches was The Power of Loving Yourself. That was my very first speech. And I got to do a women's workshop from that, got to be on television. And so I kind of ran from it. I was just like, oh, I'm a little scared to do this. And they was like, oh, you remind me of like Oprah. And I was like, and they always told me I would do one of those, like, teach you how to, like, I'd be like, you could wear this and you could do this, on television. But it was at the time, who I was at the time, couldn't receive that type of, people would just tell me that about myself. And I was like, that's me, what I'm saying? And I thought, this is a lot of work, right? Because the first 10 speeches, I had to prepare. Each time I would go to the club, you had to prepare for your speech and you do the research. And I was like, shoot, television and radio, that's going to be work. So I kind of ran from it. But then in 2019, a girlfriend of mine, Sharon Gordon, and I did self-care business. And back then in the early 2000s, I had a self-care business where I did self-care parties with women. But Sharon was a lady on my team, and she now is a Black media. She owns a Black media. So she calls me up and she's like, Robin, I was like, what? She's like, girl, we got to get your show on. I said, my show? I was like, oh, Lord,
yeah, you was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I've been running from this. But in the 2020, back in 2015, let's move it back, when my son was shot, I was doing all these little segments on YouTube, whatever, having fun with that, and so after I sat with myself in 2020, I was like, I can no longer run from who I am. So that's why I'm just speed it up. So we did that. Sharon calls me. She says, I need you to do a television show. I started doing some tapings for doing a morning show. She wanted me to do a morning show. She calls me her Ayana. She said, you're my Ayana. I want you to do, heal some lives. I was like, girl, me, I'm saying, I love you, Sharon, but me. And I was like, Lord. And then I had another lady inbox me about television. And then I had the opportunity to go on to WVOL, right? I went out to WVOL, speed up to that. So Sharon had contacted me, went through that. I said, okay, Lord, I hear you. 2020, he was saying, you're good at this, Robin. I was like, media? And then I was like, okay, Lord. And then, so when I got out to WVOL, that happened to me there. I did my interview. I did the interview. They asked me to come back. I was very grateful, right? Then the first day I went there, I didn't do my research because I normally look up people before I go on their platforms, but I didn't. I was just so excited that she asked me to come. And before Pastor Judy asked me, I got to just let the listeners know how you run for something. Connie Daenerys. She met me in Murfreesboro when I first got certified as a life coach, and she was doing the gospel radio on 92. And as soon as she met me, she said, you're my cousin, because I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and we have some connection. And she said, oh, girl, you're my cousin. I got to get you on the radio, and you got to tell everybody about being a life coach, because Nashville needs a life coach. And I'm like, still in my imposter at that time. And this is before Connie died. I still have the business card. She wrote on it. She's like, call me, cuz. And then I was so much in fear to go on the radio. That's why I share with you. I have to tell the story because Connie, rest her soul, she wanted me to be on there, but I was too nervous to get on that platform, right? And I was fighting with
Wow.
myself at the time. And this is what I want your listeners to know. I had to grow from that imposter self and to accepting this is who you are. And so
Ooh,
oh yeah.
girl, you speaking to the choir right here.
Yeah, so I had to accept it. So I held on to Connie's card. I went out there, I finally surrendered to who I am and willing to step forward. And actually, Pastor Judy never met me. So that's what I want to share with you. She never met me in person. She only seen me on doing some lives. She said I was in the go-to, my grandchild doing some lives, which I was always turned on live, right? And so I said, she said, and I was actually sitting in my prayer, had my Bible open. I had just asked God, the universe, Most High, what is my next step? And she called me and she said, I don't know you, but I would love for you to come on as a guest. I seen you on the live. And she said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a healing, I'm a wholeness, activator. I help women learn women through broken experiences, learn how to create their purpose and get their, learn to have self-care as their ultimate guide to their alignment. And so she was like, okay, bring your book, come on out. So I did. So I went out there, Pastor Judy, and she was a delightful host. And she said, girl, so much in you, right? She's like, can you come back? I
Yes.
was like, yeah, I came back. So I came back. Thank you, Pastor Judy. But I didn't know that I was literally at the place where Oprah was discovered, right? Oprah, let's go there. So she was discovered at the WVOL. This is the first radio station that played any Black music in the city. And then I got to work. I'm working with Oprah's, the gentleman that's discovered Oprah is my mentor and coach. And I think that is an honor for me to have the opportunity that, that God, the universe, held my space until I
That's
could
right.
accept who I am. And he put me right there and mentoring me with the coach of Oprah. And so I didn't even know that was him. The first day I went on the interview, I was just having fun. And then Miss Pastor Judy said, well, that's the gentleman discovered Oprah. Then I'm like, really? Like, oh my goodness, you discovered Oprah. And then I had a conversation with him and he said, Robin, television, radio, you got it. That's who you are. And I was like, okay, God. So, I was like, God.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I said, I'm willing to listen because that's what we had to do is be willing to listen, hear the voice, the inner voice that's telling us who we are and accepting that. It takes a time sometimes for each and every one of us. But I think that once I said yes, then with him affirming, he's like, you could do both of them. You're ready for it. I could see it. He said, Robin, you know way more than you give yourself credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was so appreciative of his feedback and him allowing me to be on board. And so I just honored them for that. And so Pastor Judy, she says, like, I just know that you got to share your story with the world and people need to hear it. So I feel like that was just just me saying yes to myself and my purpose, which my mission is to touch many lives. So radio gives me the opportunity to work with more great people like yourself. Thank you for being a guest on the show as well.
Yeah, I've gotten the opportunity to be on there twice, and what I liked about it, just like you're saying, the gentleman you work with was like, you just have this rawness, you have it naturally. Like when I came on, that's how I felt. I felt like you allowed me to be myself, you allowed me to be open, and I know that's what other guests feel as well. So congratulations on that, for answering and surrendering, for sure.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you.
Thank you. It is a process. I tell all your guests one day at a time. But one of the things I definitely say that will be your key to that is having your holistic approach to life every day. Learning how to surrender becomes a practice to saying yes to more the true of who you are and aligning yourself with your purpose. And then the assignment shows up and you say, I can do this.
And that's another cool thing, Robin, is that you mentioned you're a holistic coach. You teach people how to put it all together because you're a nail tech.
Mm-hmm.
You do all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
and you figured out how to put it all in like a healing box. How did you figure all that out? Because now you got the radio show, you got this, you got the book, how do you create holistic?
Thank you for asking. Holistic is really easier than we make it. Really, it is. I thank you for. Yes, it's been fun finding myself. So when I started as a nail tech back in '92, and thank you for bringing that. My trade is really has been me saying yes to my trade, and I was not comfortable saying yes to my trade because initially I was a nail biter, and then I'm a mother of 5 amazing children. One is my angel child, and 4 thriving children at this present time, and I said yes to nails. My ex-husband is a barber. And so saying yes to nails in '92 actually put me in the opportunity to start facilitating. And I started facilitating throughout the Southeast Ohio. I started traveling all over the Ohio, Southeast Ohio, and different areas with this company. Then I became a freelance educator. So I got really comfortable getting in front of people that didn't look like me. And it was really fun, right? Then I moved to Tennessee, and it was a whole lot of difference from Ohio to Tennessee. So I really had a tough time really finding my momentum in Tennessee because Ohio, I had built an amazing network in nails, and I had connections all over Ohio, and people would have me come do women facilitations. I would do nail facilitations, but because meeting each and every woman, the core of all women is kind of finding out how to balance being a good mother, wife, business owner. How do I do that, Robin? And I heard all these concerns at my table all the time. And so with being honored to have all the women that I've met and taught people to be a nail technician, that trade opened up the facilitating. And so when I became comfortable facilitating, I thought, this is fun. What's my next? So it just started to be like one thing after another. So nails is really like the core. My girlfriend called it my pulpit because that's a one-on-one VIP moment with RFD. And RFD, normally when I do your nails or I have a one-on-one session with you, some intuitiveness of me just drops on the customer, the client, and then they like, Robin, you're changing my life. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, I didn't know. But part of holistic is really like learning what I talked about 20 something years ago, the power of loving yourself. Is really just filling your cup up first, right? It sounds so basic, right? But I learned as a mother and owning my own business and those things. And I was like, what I used to have to practice what I teach. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to carve out time for me. I had an amazing ex-husband. We owned our own salon for over 14 years, contribute to him supporting me and my children, allowing me to have time with the kids, allowing me to discover myself. Even though the marriage was, I always say, similar to a Tina Turner and I that part was a birthing stone for me. He allowed me to raise my children. He allowed me to discover myself. Even though we had our roughy road, we had to, after 3 decades, say, peace, be still, right? But with that, it brought me more clarity on holistic. And holistic is really making those 15 minutes prior to you starting with your children, your husband, 15 minutes prior to you starting strolling on social media, 15 minutes, just really filling yourself up with praise and thanking yourself and really telling yourself you can do this. And I started with, I can. Then I started with, I'm willing, and now I am. And so that's the 3 steps that I tell all my customers. They say, well, I don't know when I'm gonna make time to do self-care. And I always like to just share with all your beautiful followers and your beautiful followers, manicure and your hair is grooming. I just want to clarify. Those are grooming because we brush our teeth. These are grooming steps. But self-care is really, really learning to sit still with yourself and learning like holistic. I use holistic approach to my shampoo. I use the best ingredients. I started with the ingredients on my body. That
Mm-hmm.
right there and that changed the way I think. It started to make me think differently. I started with the holistic approach of using pellets for my headaches and for my. So I used those holistic approach over 2 decades ago, and I started teaching my children those type of things. Soy candles. So
I think this your son right here is Crown Prince.
that is my son, Crown Prince. He know about all the holistic approach his mama didn't
Right.
taught, and
Soon as you soon as you talked about it, he showed up in the room.
yeah, it's a true story. Holistic is who I am. And so I started 20 some years ago applying, give me 15 minutes before I become your wife. So I started practicing those and then eliminating certain products in my self-care. So when you take a bath, you need to use a real holistic soap. So it makes you feel good from the inside out. You know, your skin start glowing. So you say, hey, I feel good. I love me. So I started with those type of approaches. So my skincare, I started with that. And then I started to notice that that helps you think and feel better, right? Then I started noticing I need to be mindful and conscious of my thoughts. And so that meditation. So I use modalities like meditation, EFT, those things for a holistic approach to life so I can handle my emotions. So I had to reprogram my emotions through EFT and through meditation. And so holistic became like, okay, who am I spiritually first, right? And then my physical needs, which would be like yoga, swimming. So making sure the body is also, so it's 3 parts, right? Our mind, our body, and our spirit. So I always was so inquisitive about those 3 parts. How do they all work together? And so God was like, okay, you gotta sit still. You gotta pay attention to what you eat. So holistic is just, and I used to do that direct sale business with another national. Her name is Debrina. She's my coach, and I have a lot of coaches that I have supported me to this place. And Debrina is a national coach. She has a book called Sacred Pampering Principles. I recommend that as well because she talks about like we all get that pedicure, manicure, and I'm not knocking us as not, but that's not the holistic approach to your self-care. Is going to take a little bit more practicing in your mindfulness and consciousness. So with that, I'm saying Debrina's helped me with that, and so just practicing that every day, and every day I started to get more clear on life. And I think when you start getting more clear on how those 3, mind, body, and spirit, it helps you in your assignment and it helps you with your alignment and who you are. So that's the holistic approach. So she's always, when I was reaching for goals, she said, well, Robin, let's look at what's going on in every area. Like, that's what I would like to get to. So every woman needs to see like what's really going on in every area of your life. Like you got to look at your finances. You got to look at how you feel about finance. You got to look at how you feel about yourself. The people that you're entertaining in your relationship. So when I wanted to promote in my direct sale business, I would always have to see if things were aligned in every area. And then I would get my promotion. So I think it's the whole, you looking at your whole self, but starting, I always like to say it's like a house and you start maybe at the kitchen or you start at the bathroom. You don't do the whole house right away in your holistic approach to life. I remember I started with the self-care items, then I started with the yoga, then I started with the meditation. So I added, like you start at each area of your house and you start making it more sacred and you start approaching it that direction each and every day. That's how you create a balance with holistic
Okay,
practice.
you just hit on some because I know you can relate to this because you went through some of Queen Afua's trainings, right? And so did I. I'm a graduate, ascended in January 2021. And actually this month we are focused on sacred space. So it's kind of interesting. You mentioned that. Because what you just described holistically, you were like, you can't just be like, I'm going to clean the whole house or I'm going to fix my whole life. We talked about Iyanla. You're like, no, start in the bathroom. And that bathroom for you may represent, I'm going to change my eating. How does cleaning up your physical space contribute to you living a more holistic life?
It's just it's a whole reflection, right? We do the reflection of, when I think of you, I think of, and those great women we mentioned, Ayana. Yes, I am a student of Ayana's. I'm a student of, what's our friend's name again that we took the class?
Oh, Queen Afua.
Queen Afua.
Yeah.
Queen Afua. I had her on the show for like 3 minutes. I appreciated her stopping by. She's an amazing woman. Queen Afua. These women are like my trailblazers, right? So what and your trailblazers, because we're in the same niche of helping people. No, would you say, what was the question again?
Basically, how does cleaning up and creating sacred space physically contribute to holistic living? So, like, you may decide, okay, I'm going to scrub the kitchen today. Like, how is that part of your holistic health?
Thank you. Because when you start to clean your outer world, like, for instance, one of the things that Debrina would do, like you just said, well, when you work with me as well, I always take that from my other teachers who are taught me to share with the other women. I say that when you work with me, you'll find that I will say that, like, what one area, it could be your car, it could be your purse, what one small thing are you willing to clean out, right? And it will shift, because you'll start, like first it used to be my years ago was like my purse, right? It would be all over the place. And I was just all over the place too. I'm all over the place with my purse all over the place. My money was all over the place. My money was all over. I was like, this is not working, right? So we're gonna
Look at a hot mess.
A hot mess. So just start with something small today. You don't go try to clean out your whole garage. Just clean out your trunk. So when you do that, right, something's gonna open up in you. You're gonna be like, whoa. So when I cleaned out, I'm gonna go with my purse first, because one of my Benjamins to line up. So I had them all over the place. One of my friends was a financial coach. She was like, give me that purse. And then my holistic coach was telling me, girls, choose this one area. And when you do that, you'll start seeing that the money will start coming in easier, right? And you'll start seeing that you can see your money growing, right? You'll start seeing, oh, when you cleaned out that area in your closet, you'll see that now more is coming in, and you'll start feeling physically like, yeah, that's what's supposed to be there. And when you go in your kitchen, if you got it cleaned up, so if you see my kitchen right now, when I look in there, it's a reflection of how I feel about myself. So I clean it so I can say, I love me. I love me. So you want to find those little small places, not the whole house over day and overnight, but start easily and be gentle with you, because love is kind, love is gentle. So those are the things I would say, like clean out your purse. When my friends told me this and I practiced like cleaning my purse, it felt so much better to be able to dig in there. So physically I felt confidence. I felt I'm on purpose. I felt like things are getting easier for me. So that's what I would say. If you will be open to just starting one space or one thing at a time, you will physically feel holistically better by making that space, decluttering it, and allowing allowing it to flow more organized for you.
Yeah, that's good. So you got me. I gotta, cause you just reminded me there's some receipts in my wallet. I need to organize and put, record in my finance book. So that's part of what I'm gonna put on my to-do list today. And that's gonna be my focus, is on them receipts. I ain't gonna try to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna scrub the walls. I'm not doing that. I'm focused on receipts.
Yeah, just one thing. Just do one thing. One thing will really change, because now you're going to feel better. Your confidence will feel better because you got your receipts in order, and that'll allow you to make room to do something else, because now that's done, right? And you'll just have a flow. So it's just becoming, creating new habits one at a time, and then getting stronger at those, and they become, you're physically know that you are enough. At that point, you'll start feeling better holistically.
Yeah, that's good, because you want to feel better and not beat up on yourself either. Like, I should have had this done by now. No, we not gonna do that. Well, as we wrap up, Robin, this has been like a wonderful heart-to-heart conversation. I totally appreciate you. What is one final word you have for the people about how to transition this summer? And then secondly, how can people get in touch with you?
Thank you. One word to transition this summer comes to me is be very conscious, be very conscious this summer on the places that you go, right? Be very conscious, be purposeful so that you'll be showing up where you feel that you are appreciated and valued. But also be mindful of what you're going to eat.
Ooh.
This year, I feel like it's important for us to be mindful of the food that we intake in the summertime, right? How much of this, how much of that, so that we can build a very vibrant life. So just be mindful. To me, it's just thinking about the food that you eat and the places that you go. Just remember to also in the summer be able to say no to some things that are not a fit. Just say no. Be open to resting in the summer, even though we have a lot of fruitful things to be involved in. Just know that you can rest in the summer as well. You don't have to show up at all the events. Fill your cup up and have fun this summer.
Yeah, because Juneteenth happened in the day, so people been doing the Juneteenth parties and events and all of that.
Have fun, enjoy it, but just remember plenty water, eat the right food, and say yes to the things that'll be purposeful for you. hmm
And then how can people get in touch with you, like to work with you, purchase your book? Even they might want to be on RFD Talk.
Oh, I would love for all those things to happen with any of you beautiful people who would like to follow and connect with me. Join me you can email me at Robin F. Excuse me. I'm gonna have y'all email me at robindavid09@gmail if you'd like to set up a consultation. I do have a website. You can become an email. I will send you some emails, and that's at robinfdavid.com if you'd like to join my email list. Now, my website is presently being updated, so some of the things are not all on there, but I would like for you to join the email if you like. And then also you can reach me if you like to be on the RFD Talk and you like to be a guest and you feel like you will be valuable on the show. Please email me at rfdtalk@gmail.com. And also, so you join me on Facebook at RFD Talk. Follow me on here on Instagram at RFD Talk. And I believe that those are all the ways that you can reach me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, y'all heard it right here on Heart to Heart. Reach out to Robin right here on Instagram, RFD Talk. You want to be on her show. The email you send to her and her team is rfdtalk@gmail.com. Also, link up on the website to join the email list. That's robinfdavid.com. So I think, this is the second time I said this week because it came up because this something from church. If all hearts and minds are clear, like, so that's
Yes, I love it. You know I love
that
it.
came to me. That came to me. If all hearts and minds are clear, we're going to close out this beautiful conversation. And y'all have a wonderful Juneteenth because I know some of y'all here in the States, that's what we're celebrating today. And some of y'all are even off. So do something like Robin said, rest. If you want to rest, rest. Okay. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all back next week, okay?
Thank you, beautiful people. Thank you so much, Dr. E. Love you guys.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Stephanie,
Thank you.
Andy,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye now.